You know, this stock market, especially the AI sector, just got a huge reality check. Today, we're going to break down the single research report that sent absolute shockwaves through Wall Street. So, let's set the scene here. It's February 26th. What seemed like a totally normal trading day suddenly turns into this aggressive sell-off. I mean, the whole market got spooked, and even the giants, the darlings of the AI world that seemed unstoppable, they just took a massive hit. And get this, Nvidia dropped 5.5% on the day. Now, what's so wild about that is that it happened right after they posted a record-smashing $68.1 billion in revenue. The earnings were amazing, their future guidance was incredible, and the stock still tanked. It made 0 cents. So what on earth happened? It wasn't a product failure, it wasn't a hack, it wasn't bad news from a competitor. No, the thing that caused all this panic was a single, pretty chilling research paper from a firm called Citrini Research. Okay, let's dive into this thing. The report is called the 2028 Global Intelligence Crisis, and right up front, they frame it as a stress test. And what it does is it outlines this hypothetical, but frankly, terrifyingly plausible scenario that's all driven by the next big step in AI. The entire premise of this report, the whole thing, is built on this fundamental leap. See, we're all getting used to generative AI, right? The kind that creates stuff. Text, pictures, you name it. Agentic AI is a whole different beast. It doesn't just create, it does. It takes action for you out in the real world. And that, my friends, is a game changer. And the report lays out this absolutely brutal 5-step spiral. Think of it like a chain of dominoes. It starts with these AI agents getting so hyper-efficient that they just wipe out all the middlemen businesses. That then leads to the collapse of the entire software-as-a-service model, which causes mass white-collar unemployment. Now, here's the crazy part. This creates what they call a phantom GDP paradox. Corporate profits look amazing on paper because of all this AI efficiency, but consumer spending has totally vanished because nobody has a job. The economy looks great in a spreadsheet, but it's completely hollowed out. And the final domino? A new financial crisis, triggered when all those newly unemployed workers start defaulting on their mortgages. And the numbers they put to this scenario are, well, they're stark. The projection is for a U.S. unemployment rate hitting 10.2%. That's millions of displaced knowledge workers suddenly flooding the job market, which of course would crush wages for pretty much everyone. This table really shows you why the sell-off hit so many different companies. It wasn't just a tech thing. You've got payment networks like Visa getting hammered because an AI could just bypass their fees. You've got gig economy apps like Uber, whose brand loyalty gets destroyed when an AI can instantly find the absolute cheapest ride or delivery. And then enterprise software and IT outsourcing, they face an existential threat. I mean, why would you pay for their services when an AI can do the job better and for pennies on the dollar? Okay, before we all panic and start building a bunker, the report itself is very clear that this is a stress test, not a prophecy. It's designed to find the weak spots in the system. So let's just take a breath and look at what the actual probabilities are here. And this is maybe the most interesting part. The report makes a really key distinction. The chances of that full-on doomsday scenario happening by 2028, it's actually pretty low, like 15%. But, and this is a big but, the probability of major disruption to those friction businesses we just talked about, that's incredibly high, over 75%. So what that means is the core threat is very, very real, even if the apocalyptic timeline is a bit much. So here's the crucial point. The real world has breaks. The scary scenario assumes that companies can just instantly and perfectly deploy all this AI. But the reality? Big companies adopt new tech slowly. Because of bureaucracy, security reviews, legal compliance, all that stuff. Plus, there's a physical limit, what the report calls a compute ceiling. If everyone rushes to automate all at once, the cost of GPUs and the energy to power them will go through the roof, which naturally puts the brakes on the whole process. So if all these jobs based on just processing information are at risk, what skills actually become more valuable? The report points to 3 big categories of jobs that are actually pretty resistant to this AI takeover. First up, the physical world. Agentic AI is a brain and a server rack. It can't navigate your flooded basement, it can't perform complex surgery, and it sure as heck can't repair the very power grid it needs to run. This makes skilled trades, hands-on healthcare, and infrastructure maintenance jobs incredibly valuable going forward. The second category is all about accountability. You can't sue an AI. An algorithm can't go to jail or have its reputation destroyed if something goes horribly wrong. Society is always going to demand a human with actual skin in the game. People like CEOs, top lawyers, and financial advisors whose entire job is built on trust and taking responsibility. And finally, there are the jobs that rely on deep, genuine human connection. Sure, an AI can be programmed to mimic empathy, but it can't truly replicate the trust built by a therapist, or the delicate social development guided by a preschool teacher, or the nuance understood by a diplomat who has to read a room in a high-stakes negotiation. This quote from the report just perfectly sums up the whole shift. The value in the labor market is moving away from just knowing things, and it's moving toward taking responsibility for outcomes, interacting with the real, messy physical world, and building genuine human trust. Now, a massive shift like this, in the very skills that our economy values, it requires a complete overhaul of how we prepare the next generation. Our current education system, well, it was built for an era that is rapidly coming to a close. Look, the university system built for the information age is basically becoming obsolete. It has to be rebuilt for what this report calls the age of agency. And this is a fundamental change. We have to move away from rewarding people for just memorizing information and start developing their judgment. It means teaching students how to manage whole fleets of AIs, not just how to process data. It means bringing back apprenticeships for real-world accountability. It means assessing students with live crisis simulations, not with essays that an AI can write in 10 seconds. And it means treating skills like empathy and communication not as soft skills, but as a core science within a new model of lifelong learning. When you boil it all down, the Citrini report isn't really a prediction. It's a warning shot fired across the bow. The technologies it talks about aren't science fiction. They are literally being built and deployed as we speak. So it leaves all of us with a really critical question. Are we going to adapt our economy and our skills in time to avoid the crisis it describes?